Thanks, Murray and Sherry, and thank you to everyone for taking the time to be with us today, and for the organizers that have done a great job of getting the word of this session out. I'm just going to talk about some of the really nitty-gritty specific things, but it's things that Murray and I feel people in this room particularly really need to know about what's going on here. A class action is something that is very similar to many other types of legal claims. There's a plaintiff and there's defendants. So it looks a lot like a regular claim. The overall purpose, though, is collective or group action, and that is the underlying rationale for why we are bringing this class action, because we certainly see a lot of commonality in what has happened to people here and some real advantages to trying to work together collectively on those issues. The class, as Murray mentioned, is defined as all those people who are in the city of Toronto on the 26th and 27th of June of this year, who were detained or arrested but not charged. And there's one distinction I'm going to take 2 seconds to make here. If you were told that you were breaching the peace, that you were being arrested for breaching the peace, that is not a criminal charge. It's a police power, but it's not a criminal charge. So even if you were handcuffed, taken to Eastern Avenue, whatever else happened to you, if you were told ultimately that you were breaching the peace and that's what you'd done wrong, you were not formally charged under our legal system, and you are still part of this class action. As Murray said, we've had to think very long and very hard about who should be in the class. These have been very difficult decisions. At this point, the claim does not include people, and I appreciate there are probably some people in this room in this situation, that were formally charged with criminal or other formal offenses. The primary reason for that is because you already have legal representation, or hopefully will be getting legal representation. So it makes it much more difficult for a court to recognize you as a class member if, in effect, you already have your own independent legal proceeding that's moving forward. We are happy to talk to people about their individual issues. So if you're in that situation and you want some more information, please feel free to get a hold of us, and we'll be giving you some ways to do that in a couple of minutes. But that is who the class is. The plaintiff, you've all had the opportunity to say hi to this afternoon, that being Sherry. And there will be more information available about Sherry and her personal circumstances. But, you know, as Jeff and Claire and other people have been saying, today is not the day for the personal stories. There will be time for that, but that information will be available through some other channels about what happened to Sherry and how that impacts on the claim. The claim, like any other legal claim, will be known by the legal name of the person who starts the claim. So that's Sherry Good. And it'll be known as versus somebody, the defendants. So the claim is going to be Good versus... We don't get to fill in the blank. We don't get to fill in the blank quite the way some other people in this room, probably Marie and I, might fill it in on our own time. But the blank in this case is actually filled in with the Toronto Police Services Board, because it's the legal entity, the legal group that has the responsibility for the actions of, it appears, not only the Toronto Police, but many other police forces from other jurisdictions who, and ultimately that's why we believe legally they have to be named as the Toronto Police Services Board. In addition, as Murray mentioned, the claim is being advanced against the Government of Canada, the Attorney General, and specifically the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and other associated security services, because it appears they had an independent legal role that was directly involved in this situation. The claim, as Marie also mentioned, is seeking monetary compensation because, quite frankly, that's the most common thing that our court system understands. And unfortunately, whether it's a loss of a human life or an injury to a person or any other types of harm, it can be very difficult for the courts to deal with that other than through monetary compensation. How that compensation would ever be dealt with, we're a long, long way away from that. And we know from direct experience, certainly in our firm, and I know Murray and his firm have thought very carefully about this, it's going to take a considerable amount of time to pull this together. So I will simply sum up my remarks by saying, what should people in this room be doing? What is it that you can do and should do? These types of claims take usually several years, sometimes longer, to proceed through the court system. The people with the responsibility for that will be Sherry and the legal team. Very rarely do individual class members get directly involved in the claim. You are automatically in the claim if you fit the class definition. You don't need to go somewhere and sign up. You don't have to submit your name. This is not like the American system that most people are familiar with on television and so on, where people have to go out and fill out forms. You don't have to do that to be part of this claim. At the same time, there is information that would be helpful to us and to the court in moving forward. First of all, your story is important to us, and Murray and his firm have established a website. It's G20classaction.com. There's information about the claim and about the website and so on the table at the back. We encourage people to submit their information and stories to us through the website. That'll be the most efficient, and we are interested in hearing from you. The other thing that we are very interested in hearing from is your friends or anyone you know, particularly if you or your friends or anyone they know was, in their mind, improperly, illegally detained or arrested, but a record of that arrest was not kept. Many people, probably many people in this room, were photographed, had their personal information taken down. We will be able to get that information in all likelihood through the legal process that's about to start. However, there will be people who simply were quote-unquote kettled on the street and had other things happen to them where no record exists that we are going to be easily able to get access to. So we very much encourage you, your friends, anyone you know who are in those situations to be able to contact us. Again, through the website is the most efficient way, and provide that information. And with that being said, we'll turn it over, I guess, to Claire to moderate some questions.